The Flaking of Flint. Flint can be worked in 3 ways. 1. It can be flaked by a blow. 2. It can be flaked by pressure. 3. It can be polished by grinding or rubbing. In flaking by the first method, to be effective, the blow must be delivered on a flat part of the flint. This flat area is called by archaeologists the striking platform. The result of a blow, owing to the chalcedonic structure which has already been explained, is that fracture of the flint takes place in a characteristic and predictable manner. The fracture spreads outwards and downwards, beginning straight, but as the force is expended, becoming first a smooth curve, outwardly convex, and eventually forming ripples at right angles to the general direction of the fracture. When circumstances allow, and the blow is directed in the right place, for example, in the middle of the upper surface of a piece of tabular flint, a complete conical body of flint will fall out of the plate. But if the blow is directed where this is impossible, at the edge of a striking platform, only that part of the cone which is represented by the flint available can be developed. It will, of course, be roughly the shape of a cockle shell. This is the conchoidal fracture already explained, Latin concha, a shell. The second kind of flaking is by pressure. If 2 flints are pressed together, for example by the wheels of a vehicle passing along a flint road, tiny and larger flakes are pressed off their edges. The same result can be obtained by man. Characteristically, it can be done with a blunt pencil of flint called a fabricator. Upon the fabricator, held against the flint to be chipped, pressure is exerted so that a small flake is detached. When a block of flint has been shaped by repeated blows and a primary form has been established, finer work, often called secondary chipping, can be carried out by pressure with a fabricator. The third way in which flint can be worked is by polishing. This method was adopted in late Neolithic times, and some beautiful examples of polished implements have been found. Although it is easy to polish flint by using modern mechanical methods, it must have been a very laborious job in ancient times. As far as flaking is concerned, I do not think it took early man long to make flint implements. I have made a tolerable flint arrowhead with a steel hammer in half an hour or so, and with practice that time might be much reduced. In association with the main features of a fracture, which have already been mentioned, shallow fissures in the flint are produced in a general direction of the force of the blow, and a small fracture is often produced as a prominent feature near the top of the concavity. This is called the bulbar scar. Terms used in connection with flint flaking also include the following: point of percussion, where the blow is delivered; bulb of percussion, the convexity of that part of the cone which is developed; core, the piece of flint left when flakes have repeatedly been removed; artifact, a useful term to include implements of all fragments produced by man when chipping stone in his manufacture of implements; flake, obviously a piece of flint flaked from a core. Apart from the intentional chipping of flint or other hand stones by man, it is obvious that they can be flaked by natural agencies in several ways. For example, this chipping can be produced A. by moving water, as when sea or waterfall or the flood waters of a river throw one freely moving stone against another. B. by the battering of a fixed stone by others carried in water. C. by stones falling upon one another. D. by movement or pressure of rock or soil. In all these cases, and you may be able to think of others, the chipping might be expected to be either haphazard or produced by blows from a single direction. But when there are two or more regular directions in which the blows producing the chipping have been delivered, and when there is also an absence of the haphazardly produced flaking, the accidental production of the final shape seems to be impossible. Then it is easier to believe that such a chipped stone is the work of man, than to think that it is the result of natural agencies, such as those we have mentioned.